Hi. I think the most effective strategy is to shame all of those who are walking outside, but I think it is too late for that, so sucks for me. Good almost lunchtime, everyone, here at BSidesTLV, and welcome to my talk, SSOh No. Yeah, you can clap hands, yeah. In this talk today, you are going to see all kinds of epic fails in the implementations of SSO pages, and mostly learn what not to do if you have them, if you implement them. A lot of silly stuff which you should actually avoid. So that's me. That's a very quick talk here. It's 10 minutes, so you can postpone lunch a bit. I'm not going to speak about myself. If you want, scan the QR code. It is benign, pinky swear. It's just like my LinkedIn profile, and you can learn about me. And yeah, that's Chewbacca, and he's in every one of my slides, or sorry, presentations. Single sign-on. Before we speak about the fails, let's speak about SSO. If in the past, like decades ago, you need all kinds of passwords for different apps and usernames, it started to consolidate. You have, like, a few years later, you have Active Directory on-premise, maybe, and you all use it in order to log into different applications. But in the last few years, you have cloud. You have all kinds of people working from home remotely using VPN. You can't sustainably use all of these shenanigans. You need a single identity provider, a single authority, single provider of tickets to any ride in the theme park that anyone will know and respect. And that's basically SSO. I'm not going to go into the technicalities behind it. It's not that interesting for this scope of talk. And we're here not to speak about SSO per se, but about the fails. But first, how it all came to be. Well, basically, because I'm as lazy as Chewbacca, which is also a star of this slide, I use SSO every day. I log into a service. I need to type in Azure, for example, my full username at my employer's name domain. My full name is long, as you all know right now. So it is kind of, I try to evade that. So I realized that I can type blah at employer name and still being redirected. It's not a bug, it's a feature. The service is unaware of the actual users used by the SSO provider. It makes sense to some extent. And then was the classic what if eureka moment of every one of these talks. What if I, instead of employername.com, I put other domain? It will still work. Will it redirect me to a different SSO page of a different company which I have no affiliation with? You won't be surprised that the answer is yes. And it was more of a welcome to the jungle moment than a what if moment in some sense. Because what came up next is I've seen so many different classes of misimplementations that have said, well, it is worth a talk. Maybe a quick talk, but a talk. And those classes are as follows. Exposing password reset functionality in an SSO page. Because, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Well, why shouldn't you be able to reset users' passwords from the internet? Disclosing partial or not partial email and phone number information, listing in hundreds and hundreds of internal assets, and providing an onboarding guide for anyone who wants to join your organization, maybe configure a VPN device out there in the internet, in an SSO login page. And let's go to the fun examples, because that's the fun part, the facepalm part of the talk. That was the first portal I've seen, and a change password button. So I clicked it. And I almost immediately was shocked that I got a password reset menu, and it even explained me what's the format of the Active Directory internal username. So all I need to do is go to LinkedIn and find one of the employees of the company to check it out, use the format they explained, and yeah, I was able to reset the password if I had their mobile device or email account. But on the other hand, they did provide me the email account and almost not partial mobile number. And you can cross-reference it with a lot of leaks, and it is quite easy to get the full phone number. And remember Lapsus, maybe, from a few months back? They did a thing called SIM swapping, which basically means that they hijack the phone number of their target. And it is not that trivial, but it is definitely a thing which is possible. And if you have the phone number and the username and the capability to reset a password from anywhere on Earth with connection to the internet, it is a serious threat. And adding insult to injury, they misimplemented the CAPTCHA. They had a different errors for a CAPTCHA username, which are incorrect, and it was applied in the wrong order, like the test for what's wrong. So, yeah. So, OK, so I found all kinds of classes, and in my essence, I am into OSINT, and I found a Google Doc, really nice Google Doc. Google Docs, for those of you who don't know, are Google hacks, kind of, in a search engine. I found something which is not this, of course, which allowed me to find a lot of, like an entire class of other issues. We'll see in a second. Using this doc, I was able to find over 3,000 websites who looked as this. You were able to either log in to the entire scope of whatever this company provides, or you were able to log in into specific assets using the SSO service. But the list of assets was exposed in the internet. It had hundreds, in some cases, of assets, some named our very secret top crypto project, whatever. Others were internal, like, databases exposed. They weren't quite sure it will be this public, nevertheless. It's just like, an SAP database, some kind of an internal website which was exposed for some odd reason. The very name of the asset was the domain you could have accessed from the internet. And last but not least, this login page. I'm a chatty person, so I've seen the Chat with IT Support button, and I clicked it immediately. But yeah, I don't really want to chat with IT. It's kind of embarrassing. I don't know how effective it will be. So I just went to the IT setup guide. That's strange. Why do you have an IT setup guide in an SSO page? And I found this way the guide to onboard a new employee to the organization, including instructions about how to configure a VPN device, how to configure all kinds of internal software, things which shouldn't be out there in the internet. It makes my life as a potential attacker way easier. And that's, I think, like the bottom line of everything here today. Remember that SSO login pages are public by default. There's a lot of information being exposed there which shouldn't be. It should look like this. And you might kind of find some sense in the fact that you should balance between security and operational costs. You do need to onboard new users, for example. However, while that's true, you don't need to do it recklessly. For example, you can install a certificate on the devices which should communicate with this portal, mutual TLS, known as. And this will save a lot of the risk of being capable to access what you've seen here today from the internet, or in the case of exposing hundreds of assets by name out to the internet. You can expose the same list, but for people who already did some kind of a form of identification in front of the organization. It shouldn't be pre-auth. It makes no sense to me. And with this, I think we can conclude this very quick talk. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to speak more about it, here are my contact details. And that's it. Thank you.